All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, in a move that'll send shockwaves around the college football world, Lincoln Riley is leaving Oklahoma to become the head football coach at USC. Now, this move comes nearly a day after it was reported that Riley would be leaving Oklahoma in favor of LSU. But after Oklahoma's loss to Oklahoma State last night, Riley said that he was committed to the Sooners. However, that commitment lasted for less than a day as Riley is leaving Norman in favor of Los Angeles to run things for USC. Now, in 5 years at Oklahoma, Riley picked up where his predecessor Bob Stoops left off as he kept the Sooners in the national spotlight. Riley's record at Oklahoma was 55 and 10 with three Big 12 championships and three appearances in the college football playoff. Now, Riley's departure was a shocker on so many different levels. First and foremost, it was a shocker to see Riley flirting with LSU in the first place because for a lot of people, Oklahoma is a dream job. I mean, you figure it's one of the blue bloods of college football, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, money does talk. You have to wonder if Oklahoma's impending departure for the Southeastern Conference had anything to do with this. Of course, the competition in the SEC is a lot different than what it is in the Pac-12 conference. And make no mistake about it. I mean, granted, USC has the financial resources behind them, but the thing is, at the end of the day, the Pac-12 is much more winnable than the SEC on a year in and year out basis if you are a head coach. Now, with this move, you can't even ask the question. Obviously, USC is definitely ready to once again make some noise. I mean, the men of Troy want to get back on that national stage, and they flirted with it, but they haven't been able to get there consistently. We saw them hire Lane Kiffin in 2011, and that was right off of that was during the sanctions from the NCAA. Then after that, it was Steve Sarkisian. That didn't work out. Then it was Clay Helton, and Clay Helton, and I've said this time in and time out. Clay Helton was there, but he was the guy that nobody wanted for the job, but he kept winning until he started losing, and then it was adios. But make no mistake about it, this right here is a hire that I think everybody on at USC and everybody that supports this USC program should be on board with because if you look at it, you think about USC over the years, and they've had a sparkling resume in regards to having quality offenses. Now you have an opportunity to get back to that because you have a guy in Lincoln Riley that can produce an offense. And on top of producing an up tempo spread offense, it's also a situation where, you know what, look at the quarterbacks that he has worked with in regards to, getting them to the NFL. Both Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, even though they transferred from other schools, but both Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray were first overall picks in the NFL draft under the tutelage of Lincoln Riley. And you look at it right now, this is an opportunity for USC and Riley to really make some noise on the recruiting trail. And it's one thing for USC because there was a time when the men of Troy could just show up and knock on a kid's door within the state of California and they were going to get them. Those things have changed. USC really has to get to work and they have to find a way not only to keep the top recruits on the West Coast from going to other West Coast schools, but also they have to prevent them from going east because in recent years, we've seen some of the big boys of the college football landscape, such as Alabama, such as Georgia, have the ability to go west and get quality high school football players to come play ball east. Granted, you know that national brands such as Michigan, Ohio State, and Notre Dame are always going to be able to go west and get some guys. But now USC has a better opportunity to once again stake their claim on the West Coast and more importantly, the state of California in regards to keeping those kids home. You look at it on the flip side for the schools that lost out on Lincoln Riley, and that's going to be Oklahoma and LSU. What's next for them respectively. One name that you're definitely going to hear in regards to Oklahoma is current Tennessee head football coach Josh Heupel. Of course, Heupel led the Sooners as a player to their last national championship when he was a quarterback for Oklahoma back in 2000. He was an assistant coach under Bob Stoops there for several years, and then he sparked moved out on his own after he was let go by Oklahoma, and he has shown that he can be a successful head coach. He has really put together a quality offense at Tennessee in a very short period of time, and I guarantee you right now, just like it was for Mel Tucker at Penn State, at Michigan State, excuse me, and just like it was for James Franklin at Penn State, I guarantee you the powers that be at Tennessee, they are getting their money together, they're getting their resources together, and they are going to do whatever they can to keep Josh Heupel happy and in Knoxville. Some other names that you can hear for these jobs: Dave Aranda in regards to LSU. He was their defensive coordinator when the Bayou Bengals won the national championship a couple of years ago. And, he's currently the head man at Baylor, doing a tremendous job there. And I guarantee you that he could be in the mix for that job. Lane Kiffin, the current head coach at Ole Miss, and, the Lane train, we've seen what he can do. Oklahoma and LSU could be in the mix for his services. You've heard Jimbo Fisher in regards to LSU. He's saying that he's staying at Texas A&M, but I think honestly, at the end of the day, I'll believe it once he gets an extension. And it's one of those where, you know what, I said a lot of head coaches were either going to move this year, or we were going to see guys get extensions. We've already seen it with James Franklin and Mel Tucker. I think some more extensions are coming down the pike as schools like Oklahoma and LSU have money and resources that they are willing to spend on a top quality coach. So I look at it right now. USC definitely found their guy. They went about it very quietly because once they parted with Clay Helton, you really didn't hear them linked to anybody. There were rumors about Mike Tomlin, the current head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. Of course, Mike Tomlin shot those down right away. But nonetheless, USC for the most part was very quiet about this. You never really thought about Lincoln Riley and USC together, but you know what? That is the nature of the beast. LSU, they obviously they've had a head start on their coaching search because they made it known several weeks ago that Ed Orgeron would not be back. But Oklahoma, you got to turn things around rather quick because if you're the Sooners, you have yourself a 10-win season. Luckily for them in this aspect, they won't be playing in the Big 12 title game, possibility for a New Year's Six game. I guarantee you that an assistant coach will be leading the team for that game, but Oklahoma's got to scramble and find themselves a head man going forward. This was a shocker. USC found their guy. This breathes a lot of life back into their program, and the men of Troy not only want to go back to putting their stamp on the Pac-12 conference, but they also want to go back to putting their stamp on being a national brand. So I think Lincoln Riley will have some success on the West Coast at USC. I think the offense will definitely be explosive. And now it's going to be interesting to see how both Oklahoma and LSU will be able to pick up the pieces. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.